Organize Me Radio, episode 89, Organizing an Estate Sale. I'm Naeemah Ford Goldson. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Organize Me Radio. I'm Naeemah Ford Goldson, and today's guest is Heather Dawson with MaxSold. Please welcome Heather. How are you?
Hi, good. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you so much for being here, Heather. For those people who haven't heard about MaxSold or they don't know what MaxSold is, can you tell us a little bit more about it and how it works in the estate industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So MaxSold is basically it's an online platform that anybody can leverage to sell items, whether it's just a small downsizing project or a larger estate clear out. We make it very easy for anyone to leverage, from professionals like move managers and organizers to families that just need to get the project done. And essentially, we have a very intuitive, user-friendly app that people are able to download and use and go from there.
So, can you tell us what's your role at MaxSold and what made you decide to get into this industry?
Oh gosh. Well, my role at MaxSold is I lead the business to business sales department. I spend a lot of time onboarding and coaching new organizers, move managers, seniors, realtors, resellers, estate sale companies, anybody in that industry of helping to downsize and sell household contents. And I kind of onboard and coach them into how to run their own MaxSold sale and build it as an additional service ad that they can offer their clients. I fell into this role because, I've been in this industry one way or another my entire life. So I was raised in a family run auction business up in New Jersey and was working for my parents' auction company, all through college. And um, while I was a teacher for many years, I always did, appraisal work on the side and was involved in one way or another, ran estate sales in the summer, and eventually just found that this is really where my niche was. I have a passion for professional organizing, so I started my own organizing business about almost 10 years ago and found that my niche in organizing was helping people figure out what to do with the things they don't want. So I started running more and more sales for people and discovered MaxSold and started using the MaxSold platform to run sales for my clients. And then really kind of grew my business, had a whole team that worked with me on downsizing projects. I was in Denver at that time. And about 3.5 years ago, I moved across the country to where I am now in South Carolina, and thought I would rebuild my business here, which I've done a little bit to some degree, but ended up getting hired on by MaxSold full time to basically help other industry professionals do what I've been doing. Long
Okay,
story.
so I love that you have the background of auction. So what comes to my mind is the auctioneer. I think that's what it's called, and they're talking fast, and you can barely understand, but you only hear when they point to the person of if they want it or anything. Anyway, that popped into my mind. But what's the difference between how Max Sold operates and traditional estate sales?
Right. Yeah, I can help clarify that. So, and it's interesting that you mentioned the traditional auctions as well. So that bid calling, which you're talking about, I'm a licensed auctioneer. I had to learn the bid calling, which is funny because I sell everything online, which is what MaxSold is a resource for, everything online, where bid calling is not necessary. So I'll tell you real quick the reason why people do bid calling, auctioneers. It's because they want to sell as much as they can, as fast as they can within the time frame of that auction that's happening in order to make the business worthwhile for them, in order for it to be profitable. If you were to go to a high-end auction like Sotheby's, you would hear a much slower bid calling because they're selling things worth a lot of money and they're taking their time. But when you've got a Friday night box lot auction, they're going really fast because they need to sell as much as they can. Now, when you have a platform like MaxSold, and everything on MaxSold is run at auction. So while we say, yes, it's an online estate sale, the items are sold for auction. So there's no fixed prices on anything. Everything starts at $1 for bidding and goes from there. And MaxSold, what they do is they simulate that bid calling at the very end by doing something called a soft close. So if somebody jumps in at the last second to win an item, MaxSold's platform will automatically extend the sale another minute or so everybody can bid against them. So when you have a live auctioneer down the street doing bid calling, he can see his audience. So he can say going once, going twice, last call. Oh, I see, and they see you if you jump in for another bid. Nobody can do that on an online platform. So soft close simulates that. So MaxSold is really, estate liquidation, auction, all rolled into one. They take the best parts of each of those different ways of selling and create an online system that works to cover all of it. And of course, the reach is bigger because you're on the internet, which is awesome, right? You think of a traditional estate sale and maybe 200 to 300 people line up around the corner in the morning to get in. We're in front of thousands, which is phenomenal.
Okay, so can you talk us through the typical client experience for working with MaxSold?
So the typical client, which is just the seller, might, let's say, be working with a move manager because they're downsizing and they're moving to maybe an independent living apartment in a senior community. Maybe they're coming out of a 3,000 square foot home. They can only take 25%, if that, of what's in their home. Their family doesn't want everything. What they're going to do is either they or their move manager is going to reach out to MaxSold and say, look, we need to have a sale. And oftentimes it is the move manager that will project manage that whole sale for their client. So they'll submit a contract for this unique auction and they will get their own unique auction ID number, which they'll use to activate the app. And then once you're in the app, it's so intuitive and easy. It just walks you through taking the pictures of everything in the home that needs to be sold, putting in any description or measurements that people need to know about the items, and then submitting it to the maxsold.com website. Now, the move manager and the seller get to control the timeline. So they decide when the sale is going to go live and launch on the site and how long it'll be live for. Usually it's about a week. What day it will end. And while it's up, MaxSold is the one who's advertising and marketing that sale for them, getting in front of all the bidders and that'll be bidding on the items, navigating and managing all the communication with those interested bidders, processing all the payments at the end, collecting all those payments, and then of course paying out that client. So the move manager and the client really don't have to do very much when it comes to advertising or finding buyers or processing payments. We make it very seamless. All they have to do is provide the photos and info about what's being sold. And then they will get from MaxSold a very transparent, comprehensive report of everything that's sold and exactly what it's sold for. And they'll also get a list of who the buyers were, confirmation that they've paid, exactly what they purchased, and the appointment time that those buyers sign up to come pick up their item. So nothing is shipped. Everything is sold to a local buyer. Now, MaxSold will allow shipping if it's an item that warrants it, right? So if it's a very high-end piece of jewelry and it's very easy to ship and the move manager wants to navigate that for their client, that is fine. We can market it then nationally. But generally, we find the local markets, no matter where you are, have the buyers for whatever you're selling. So We will send that report of who they all are and when they're coming to get their items. And that happens on one specific day called a pickup day. Generally, it's a Saturday from like 9 to 3. And the move manager and their team generally are the ones that supervise that. So they would just be on site with their team to greet the buyers when they come to get their item and just supervise that safe removal of the items. So it's really an efficient, well-oiled process. From the minute they're taking photos in the app to the pickup day, it's generally about 2 week turnaround.
Okay, I was going to ask you about larger items, but it sounds like people come to pick them up anyway. So you probably don't have to worry about like shipping larger items and things like that. But are there any items that you don't accept?
Yes, so there is a do not sell list. MaxSold does not have a firearms license, so we can't sell firearms. MaxSold doesn't have a liquor license, so those wine collections we wouldn't be able to sell. We do have strong partnerships and relationships with others in the industry that can assist with those things, and we're always happy to connect people with them. Um, there are some items like I guess bigger designer names like Louis Vuitton that unfortunately is known to have too many fakes and fraudulence in the market. So we have to be very careful about that. So it's not a hard no that we won't take those, but we may need to vet them a little more closely. Is there a receipt of purchase, or do you have a recent appraisal done on it, just so that we know that what's going out on the platform is authentic. So there is that kind of niche authentication process that we may have to look at on a one-on-one basis. Other than that, I mean, of course, there's endangered animals, that type of thing, like certain taxidermy that we simply can't sell just because of PETA rules. But most things, I mean, if it's a household item, if you find it in a home, it's a suitable platform, right? So we have everyone that uses our platform sells items that range from cars, and yes, we do start everything at $1, but we can start cars at $1 and sell them for thousands because items will reach fair market value. We also have, people that put auction lots that are bundled cleaning supplies and household supplies, which they need a solution for and want to get them out of the house and get them rehomed and not put them in a dumpster. I've seen bundled auction lots of household cleaning supplies go for well over $100.
So you really do handle a lot of things. Now, I know you mentioned mostly you work with like the organizers and the move managers that typically will coordinate everything for you. But what happens with clients who have like maybe a cherished memory or it's hard for them to let go? Have you ever had an issue where after something is sold, the client changes their mind?
So generally, that does not happen. I mean, it could happen if a client decides they're not going to let something go at the end of a sale or during a sale. There could be like a penalty fee for doing that, but we do try to set expectations up front very clearly. And there are things that hold what's called emotional value, and we try to set the expectations so they understand how those items are performing realistically in the market. So of course, upright pianos and some of that large dark hardwood furniture like the dining room sets and the big bedroom sets from the 90s and the 80s that are just kind of flooded in the market and aren't trending. So I would say the key is setting expectations up front with them around what to expect when they're trying to sell these items. But it doesn't happen very often that they pull something out of a sale. If they do, there's generally a fee for doing that. But I would say expectation setting is really the key.
Are there any specific items that you recommend selling versus donating and throwing it away?
MaxSold is really a thorough solution for anything that is in a household that can be sold, right? We want to try and keep as much as we can out of landfills and get as much homed as possible. Starting items at $1 for bidding, while valuables will seek their fair market value and do well, sometimes we can really assist in getting harder to sell items out the door that folks may say, oh, we may just need to donate this, it's not going to sell. Or, how do we donate this? The donation centers don't want to take up their floor space with this big DV armoire from the 90s. So starting items at $1 on the MaxSold platform might help get some of those hard to sell items sold for a very nominal amount and rehomed. I mean, people do ask, is there something I should just simply donate and get it out of the way? I think it depends on the project. So if you've got a tremendously large estate clearing project and you are trying to be very mindful of how you use your time in a cost efficient way for your client, and you've decided we're not going to include absolutely everything in a MaxSold sale. We're going to be selective and focus on items that we feel need to get out the door that way and will garner some profitability. Then okay, we tell them take the used sheets and towels over to the animal shelter down the street. Go ahead. It's not going to make enough money for you to focus on that if you really need to be efficient with your time and you want to focus on the more valuable items in the house. Can you include those on the MaxSold platform? Sure, include them in the sale if you'd like. Bundle them all together. Other things that I could tell people if they really need to donate, used clothing, because if you do include it in a sale, you will have to create what we call larger auction lots, bigger bundles, so that the auction lot of that item warrants enough money maybe to make it cost effective for the time you spend creating that auction lot. So it is project specific and kind of what the goal is in the end. But MaxSold will let you include anything you can. As far as throwing items away, I mean, if it's terribly damaged and broken, you may simply have to. You might not have another alternative.
Gotcha. How can people maximize, I guess, the likelihood that they might get more for their item? Is there a way to clean it up, to photograph it? Is there something that people can do?
Yes. So because it's online and it's an online auction platform, the viewers, the bidders are really relying on what you communicate to them. And it's both visual and also, the information that you provide. So you want to make sure that your photos are clear and transparent and that people, are able to really see what you're putting up for sale. And that also, in addition to that, you have enough photos. So let's say you have a Waterford crystal stemware set. Try and get a photo of the name Waterford at the bottom underneath one of the glasses so that people see transparently that it is what you're saying it is. And say what it is, put in the title, Waterford crystal stemware. Put how many pieces there are in the description. Just make sure that if it's furniture or art, you put the dimensions in. People want to know exactly how big it is. And of course, if there are any brands or designer names affiliated with the auction lot or the item, be transparent about that.
Okay, got it. So, can you share a success story where MaxSold made like a significant impact with the client?
Oh my gosh, yes. We actually have a video that we love to share with a lot of our new prospective move managers and organizers that are thinking of working with MaxSold. It's one of our longtime partners. She has a move management company up in Massachusetts, and she has this beautiful story about how a woman came to the pickup day, and this is like a simple win. It's not like about profitability as much as it is about purpose and intention behind getting items out the door in the best way possible. a woman came to say that she goes to estate sales and she frequents MaxSold sales all the time because she has a daughter who is blind and gets so much joy out of music boxes. So, she was so excited to buy this collection of music boxes from her auction because it just adds so much depth and value to their life and their home. So it's little stories like that you get all the time from people when they come to pickup days to get items. I mean, I can share stories about profitable wins. Of course, MaxSold has sold lots of really cool things and made decent money. I think up in Ontario, we had a charity auction that a radio station hosted and sold Taylor Swift tickets for, I don't know how much it went, probably like $15,000, something
Wow.
outrageous, I They included the plane tickets, but I mean, there are big wins like that, but there are also very sweet wins where the buyers are buying these items because it really does add value to their life intrinsically. Upright pianos, they're so hard to sell, and just to get a piano moved across town can be hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So when they do sell, they don't sell for very much. But I can tell you, as somebody who has run close to 75 sales for clients myself, outside of working full time for MaxSold, every time I see an upright piano sell, it is to somebody that truly is excited to acquire this item. And generally, they've got a kid at home that just has a passion for music, right? And wants to learn. So it's getting these items rehomed also and into the hands that appreciate them.
I love that. I think that for someone like me who I'm getting older and the older people in my life are getting older and they're needing to downsize and we're needing to, set up estate sales and things like that. I definitely think it sounds like this is something that can be very beneficial to people who don't even know where to start. And it's just been very helpful, all the information you've given us, and I really appreciate and I hope it helps the listeners.
Yeah, I do too. And I'm always happy to talk to anybody that has more questions about not even just Max Sold, but just, how to navigate selling and rehoming these items, and what to expect with certain items because it's hard to know what to expect when you're trying to sell and find a solution for so many different types of things that you find in the household.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay. So we're going to switch gears just a little bit because my favorite thing to ask everyone, what is your favorite organizing product or productivity tool?
Okay, this is very simple and kind of silly, but years ago I discovered, so I always use painter's tape, right? And you think of blue painter's tape. That's just what you think. You go to Home Depot or wherever, that's what you see. So I've always used that because even when I'm cataloging a sale for somebody and putting the little numbers on items so I know which auction lot it is, I don't just put a sticker on. I always put something very like unabrasive, like painter's tape. And I discovered that you can buy rainbow rolls. You can get them in every color. So like if you go to amazon.com, you can get a roll of rainbow painters. So you have your red roll, your orange roll. And I love that because it was a way for me if I'm working on a larger project and I had one where they were selling all these items. So I used my blue painter's tape for those. And then, Uncle Joe out in New York was getting all of these. So I used orange for him. And then Carol down in Virginia, we had to ship all those to her, so she got purple. You know what I mean? And then there were ones that we were setting aside for specific donation or to move. So I love that. So I could use my favorite kind of tape and have them color coded. So I like them more than sticker dots because those are hard to get off things.
I love that. I did not know that there were different types of colored painter's tape, which it
Yeah,
makes sense that there is, right? But I just
right.
never thought I'm going to add that to my organizer bag because that would be so helpful.
Yes, and they might call it masking tape if you go on Amazon, but it's the rainbow roll. You could put in painter's masking tape, but it's brilliant. I love it.
Okay, okay, I'm going to look into that. One of the other things I love to ask everyone is, what is your greatest professional achievement?
Gosh, my greatest professional achievement. I don't know. Maybe it hasn't happened yet. But no, I think I was very proud of myself for being able to start my own business and um, start a business just focusing on the things that I love doing, which is organizing and helping people navigate what to do with their things that they're not keeping, and have a team that I could coach and work with. So, I mean, that was super fun, and I consider it an achievement not just because I did it, but it's led me to where I am now. So being on this path that I feel like I'm still very actively on, and being led to my role at MaxSold, where I get to talk to organizers all day long every day about how to do that, how to do this, how to make it work for your clients, and how it's such a valuable service that you can add to the repertoire of all the other services you're adding, because it really kind of makes everything um, fit. Like the puzzle comes together, if that makes sense.
I love that. Heather, thank you so much for joining us and sharing all your wisdom with auctions and letting us know a little bit more about Max Sold. Can you tell everyone how they can find out more information about you?
Absolutely. So if you want to reach out to me directly, my direct line at MaxSold is 470-206-0211. That will go directly to me. If you do land with the main number, which I believe is 833 MaxSold, my extension is 9. So I'm always happy to chat. And answer any questions you have about online auction and what to expect. Um, you can find me on LinkedIn, Heather Dawson, and beyond that, check out the website maxsold.com. See what's for sale in your area. I mean, there's always fun stuff that's up there and available. Um, Christmas is around the corner. All the holidays are coming up in the next month or so. Get on there and do some shopping.
Heather, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you all for joining us. Be sure to tune in next time for an all new episode.